So you just hope the Flames, dude. That's where we're at. We just hope the Flames can recoup something out of this, right? Please just recoup some. I'm sitting there at the beginning of summer being like, holy cow, this is gonna be a great trade. It's gonna be set up. And it hasn't really come to fruition. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. It seems like a sticky situation they've walked themselves into once again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the In the Dome podcast. The show is a presentation of Bet365. It's pretty quiet out there. Not too much happening in the old hockey world and the old Flames world. However, we did get a little tidbit last week about the whole Andersson. Did he nix a trade? Did he not nix a trade? So he's in Sweden now, and a Swedish reporter reported on this, basically asking him straight up, what was the breakdown? What happened? So that's really all I've got to talk about.
It's like we're tabloid chasers at this point in the offseason, right? It's like we're picking up Swedish
meatballs for dinner,
putting them into Google Translate, and whatever it spits out is what we're going on here.
But this is an interesting kind of synopsis. Again, we've talked about this. It's interesting when you have all these rumors and trade rumors and all these insiders reporting all this shit, and then you always find out later on, it's like, actually, no, that was not what happened. So whether it's agents or certain teams trying to use media outlets as leverage to get what they want, we don't know. But Rasmus Andersson pretty much says straight up in this interview with Swedish journalist David Carlson and Michael Lundberg that no, he didn't say he just wanted to go to one team.
Yeah, he laid it out. Pretty much the takeaways from Andersson were, like you said, he confirmed it wasn't just one team he would sign with, which has been speculation, like you said, this summer. And then he also did confirm the two things he confirmed. The other thing was that the Flames did, in fact, bring a trade to him, LA? Possibly from LA. He wouldn't confirm if it was LA, but it was a trade that was contingent on him re-signing an extension with the team he was going to. And he confirmed that he told the Flames he would not be willing to re-sign with the team that brought the offer. Presumably that's LA. That's kind of the rumor out there.
A lot of times in the situation, if they're not going to say it wasn't, if he's going to say, well, I'm not going to say it wasn't LA, then it probably I'll tell you who it wasn't.
It was not Anaheim, not San Jose, not the best part about these like overseas interviews is that we all have to like put them into Google Translate. And the things that get lost in translation are always fucking hilarious to me. So it's like they're asking him.
You think in 2025, the translation would be pretty spot on, but it's just all over the place.
My favorite part is if you go to the actual article in the Swedish outlet and translate it into English, it translates to, the question is, TSN writes that LA put a proposal that would make you lose your breath. Did you lose your breath? Did you lose your breath? It reminds me of when the Lord of the Rings were doing their press junket. Have you ever seen this? And one of the guys is like trying to fuck with Elijah Wood, and he's pretending to be some foreign journalist. And he's like, do you like to wear wigs? Will you wear wigs? And Elijah Wood's like, oh, what the fuck? Did you lose your breath? So
that's like some Sacha Baron Cohen,
Borat
or shit. Bruno shit.
Did you lose your breath? So
his best one was what's the Ali? Is it Ali G or something like that?
Oh yeah, that's rapper. Cool. Oh yeah. Anyways, apparently Andersson did not lose his breath. It wasn't Andersson that would be losing his breath. It was that I couldn't remember. Was it losing breath? Was it blowing socks off? What's the pejorative we're using here? Are socks blown off?
It didn't blow me away.
Taken away. Whatever it is, it didn't blow us away.
Everybody wants to be blown away.
So essentially he said he didn't want to re-sign with the team that made this breathtaking, blow your socks off potential offer. So
to recap, he's got a no trade clause.
Yeah, he has a limited no trade clause.
No trade clause. How many teams do we know?
I think it's 6.
So he can say no to 6 teams.
Yeah.
or he has to say yes. Is the other way around?
I believe it's a 6-team no trade clause where he could just say no to those teams. And that I think, did that recently kick in? I don't remember, but he had submitted a 6-team no trade list at some point.
It kind of shocks me a little bit that LA would be on that list of 6 teams. I mean, they're right there. They're in the hunt.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, and again, like he didn't confirm, but it was kind of like wink, wink. Like everyone assumes it's LA because that's the report. I think Dreger put it out there about a month ago. But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of like you'd think, right? California. I mean, he didn't want to move his family there. Like, you got to remember, he's a family guy. I don't know. It's not like you're living right down in the middle of the city in LA. So obviously it was a consideration for him moving his family there. Maybe he just hates the Kings. Maybe he just knows they're pathetic losers. You know, I think if Rasmus Andersson has been anything, I think he's been a good judge of who's a loser and who's a winner. Remember when he was always
a pretender?
Yeah, he's always calling the Oilers pretenders, which I always appreciated. Maybe he just knows that LA is like, oh, those guys suck. He doesn't want to be getting crushed by the Oilers in round 1 every year. So it is a little surprising, especially when the speculation has been that he would be open to going to Vegas. I don't know how much difference is living in Vegas than living in LA. I'm not sure, but maybe it's a tax thing. Maybe it's a lifestyle thing. I'm not sure. All we know about Rasmus is he is a good guy. He's a good family guy, and probably that's his number 1 priority. So it's kind of surprising. Where else would you want to go? Florida, I guess. Vegas. We know there's been some rumors that maybe Ottawa's been sniffing around and he's not super keen on going there, but
I could think of 6 teams I wouldn't want to play before LA. That's for sure.
I can think of like 24 teams I would play for before LA. California, come on. Manhattan Beach, beautiful. Come on, just ask Daryl Sutter. If Daryl Sutter can make it work in LA, I feel like anybody can. It always cracked me up when you saw Daryl when he was down there and he's like he just tanned, just just so brown. It's hilarious.
So Pike has a little breakdown of this interview on Flames Nation. One of the main quotes coming out of the interview is Rasmus Andersson saying, I have still been very appreciated in Calgary for a long time. Then some insider comes along with the wrong information and the fans believe it because they are right about a lot of other things, the insiders, that they do. And I understand that that's their job, but I have not given Calgary a team that I only want to play one team. That's not true, he says.
So, yeah, I guess the whole and you kind of think about how it probably played out is that the Flames probably they've offered him a contract likely that probably obviously is not up to what he's looking for. They have obviously tried to make a move to a team that he did not want to extend with long-term. And he probably gave them a list of teams that, hey, here's where I prefer to play. And Vegas was probably on that list. So that's probably where he only wants to play for one team thing comes from. So
if that's true, in your mind, is this, good asset management is to first offer Rasmus Andersson a deal that you see works for your team rather than try and trade him and get something back for him, given the state of his contract status and where this team is
I think it's past that at this point. If you wanted to do that, you should have done that already. Because now what are you looking at?
But it sounds like you're kind of assuming that they did. They've offered him a contract.
Yeah, I would imagine. I think Rasmus says since there has been an offer on the table and they haven't spoken since. But my thoughts on it, that asset management wise, it should have been done probably at last deadline. Because you have to anticipate this, right? Look at his end of season press conference. It was pretty clear that it was kind of and things can change. I remember we were saying the same thing about Backlund that one year where I was this guy already has 1 foot out the door. And then, Conroy comes in, talks to him, re-signs him. But I mean, at the end of the season press conference, you could tell there was a shit ton of frustration on Anderson's part there. So to me, if you wanted to keep him, you should have you should be pursuing this already, because what do you get out of playing this out if you want to re-sign him? I don't know if his price is going down, right? If you really value what Rasmus Andersson brings and you really want him on the team, like his price probably isn't going down. I can tell you that with where the cap's going.
Yep.
And given he just had a really tough season and he'll be better next season.
Well, especially if you're looking at a shorter term deal, which I don't really know. I can't get inside of Craig Conroy's head at this point. But what age is Andersson now?
He's 28. 28, almost 30.
28. These Swedes are always
and defensemen too.
And can play a little bit longer. So I don't know. Is he going to be an impact player till 33-ish? Got five more pretty semi-solid years left in him, or what? What would you say?
Yeah, we've seen this with defensemen too, right? Where the aging curve doesn't seem to. But I think given Andersson's skill set, I'm not sure if that would, have as much longevity as maybe some other players, because guys who can move and guys who can play really good defense, like they kind of tend to age a little better. But I don't know. You'd probably be keeping him more for the fact that the kind of guy he is, what he does in the locker room, what he means to the city, what he means to the team, more so than projecting, he's still going to be pretty good in 5 years, in my opinion.
So we're keeping another locker room guy.
Yeah, keeping another locker room guy. And you also have to consider what this team has on the back end right-hand shot coming up too.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of skill and a lot of players we want to get looking at really soon. So it doesn't make sense for me unless he's willing to take a hometown discount, why would he, right? We're always like, this guy should take a discount. Why? Why should he take a discount? He doesn't know us anything. None of these guys do. So to me, it doesn't make any sense in any world unless Andersson's willing to just take this crazy discount to keep him here because he loves playing in Calgary so much.
Typically, you see players taking hometown discounts if they've had some serious success with the organization in the past, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, like his previous contract he was pretty underpaid. That was a great deal. And again, if you're coming at it from his perspective, like he's probably the last 2 to 3 years, he's probably missed out on $3 to $4 million per year in market value. Like he's going to look to make that up for sure. So
breaking news coming in from Bet365. Every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat-trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. An official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. So the other side of this is, which kind of hampers Craig Conroy and the Flames in a sense, is that, if they're going to get max value, if Rasmus Andersson does a sign and trade versus just a trade, then that puts more power in Andersson's decision and lets him kind of pick more. So gives him the ability to shut down and nix some of these trades, which he just did. But Andersson then says, I thought about a lot of things. I talked to my family and thought that right then and there, I wasn't really keen on moving my family to this place, wherever it was, and signing a long contract there, say it was LA. That's what it comes down to. Communicated that decision to Calgary. And if you trade me, this is the number of teams that I can think of signing for.
Yeah.
So, and that was LA. If it was LA, it wasn't one of them. But that does give him kind of more power in the driver's seat if Connie's saying, well, we're going to get way more for you if you do a sign and trade. So regardless of whether it's just a 6-team no trade list, this kind of changes things.
Well, again, this is why a lot of us were kind of alerting, this is going to turn into Hanifin 2.0 again, because once you give the player all the leverage, that's when your return is going to be lessened, right? And it's like, okay, did they misread the market? What's going on here? Because all I keep reading is like, man, any team would love to have Andersson. Well, why isn't anyone and yes, any team should love to have Andersson. Why isn't the deal getting done? So this is another reason why it was, I think, imperative and preferable to trade him at the deadline, this past deadline. And I do think that was a mistake.
We were in a playoff push.
And he was we
had to reward the guys. Remember?
Yeah. So, It was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. I know I know everybody doesn't feel that way. I think it was a missed opportunity, and you've kind of put yourself in this position now where, you've kind of handcuffed yourself a little bit where, like you said, he now has most of the power. And I don't want to take this totally away from Craig Conroy because, we kind of thought he maybe was too patient with the Markstrom situation last offseason, and that played out very well. I mean, I think this is different given the contract status of Rasmus Andersson. But
plus with the Markstrom situation, you kind of knew there was one destination.
Yeah.
And so you had more leverage, right?
You had more leverage. You had a team that was kind of desperate. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see how the Flames wiggle out of this one.
So if you're Craig Conroy, then are you simultaneously making calls, taking calls on Andersson? One phone call to a certain number of teams is dangling this potential sign and trade. Obviously, you're probably chatting with Andersson, maybe getting ahead of it and saying, well, give us a list of teams that you would sign and trade to. Let's see what we could get. And then the second phone call you're making is just a straight up trade. No sign and trade. Obviously, you're not getting as much back in return. But then you're not really so much hampered with him kind of being able to say yes or no.
Well, I guess you just have to, and I think Craig's been pretty good at this. You just have to set a price that you're comfortable. You're doing both of those things, and if you get more from a team that you can just trade him to, no strings attached, no extension in place, then you think you can get with an extension and kind of like have to convince Andersson to go there, then you just go that route and you pull the trigger as soon as that's presented to you. If it were me, that's kind of what I'd be looking at this point. Cause I don't want this is just me as a fan talk. I don't want this to be lingering in this camp. It's it's all we're going to be talking about. There's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to for next year. I wouldn't want to be like, oh, like this is still dragging on. This is still going on. We're still doing this. We're still kind of like nickel and dime. Kate, what can we get? What can we get? Maybe he gets hurt and then you're really screwed. And I think, I don't know. I can't put myself in Rasmus Andersson's shoes, but I think if you're him, like that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a start with a new team, regardless of whether I have an extension or not in place. I don't want to be having one foot in the door, one foot out the door to start the season. So to take away from everything that's been said, I feel like I thought the trade would have happened sooner. I still feel like it's going to happen, but it's sure dragging on. Like it's August 11th already. So you just hope the Flames, dude, that's where we're at. We just hope the Flames can recoup something out of this, right? Please just recoup some. I'm sitting there at the beginning of summer being like, holy cow, like this is going to be a great trade. It's going to be set up. And it hasn't really come to fruition. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. It seems like a sticky situation they've walked themselves into once again.
Yep. Obviously you can get more for him if you trade him before the season starts than at the deadline.
But, and again, it kind of comes back to this market thing too. It's kind of like, we always seem to be like, well, we're not going to trade a player because like the market isn't, I don't know. It's just like, that's again, going back to that trade deadline. And I don't want to sound like a broken record and be like a total dickhead and be like, well, they should have traded him, but it's kind of true. The market seemed to be very strong. Did it not at the trade deadline this past year? You had a value asset. It seemed like the time to do it.
But they only missed the playoffs by half a point. Anyways, we'll see what happens here in the offseason. You're still sticking to it gets done before the season starts? It's still where you're sitting?
I think, me personally, that's where I'm sticking. I sure hope so. It's just everybody knows it, right? Like, even in his end of season press conference, just like, yeah, this guy is not like, it's not going to work here anymore. It's been good, but it's time to move on for everybody. So,
yeah, when you kind of can get the sense of the writings on the wall, that's probably when you start making the moves. And just like, when we offloaded Markstrom, that left the door open for Dustin Wolf, you got all these young prospects that are showing very promisingly. a lot of right shot defensemen, young guys. It would be cool that, you know, and if Andersson did get traded before the season starts, to even get to see some of these younger guys this upcoming season.
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.